Can you
Okay.
speak on the concept of fundamental bass in an in-depth way? So, for instance, Mozart described the inversions of a seventh chord to Thomas Atwood in his lessons with him, and you use as a famous example in the Child Composer's book that the Paris Conservatory used Catel's harmony textbook over Rameau as they selected him. But if you actually look at Catel's textbook, he does speak of inversion. So sh- doesn't that, in a sense, prove that yes, maybe Rameau was right in the end because there are inversions of chords? So what is the big fuss here?
Well, inversions of chords were recognized a century before Rameau in the 1600s. Uh, Again, it's a kind of similarity, if you will. It's just pointing out a similarity. Mozart, for example, really didn't describe the inversions of chords to Atwood. He described how this chord was similar to, and we immediately look on that and say, he's showing an inversion. But really, what he was demonstrating was a similarity. You know, in Italian pedagogy, when you were going to prepare and resolve a 7 to a 6, there were 4 ways to prepare it, and you had to learn each of the 4 ways. And that meant that there were 4 consonances that you could use to prepare the dissonance: 1, 3, 5, 6. We, today might look at that and say, oh, well, those are inversions.
Yeah.
But they did not say that, that this version of a chord is an upside down version of that version of a chord. They treated them as separate things. So that doesn't mean that,
Were they ignorant? Perhaps a Riemannian sort of analysis of their pedagogy would be that's maybe just ignorance there.
no, they weren't.
Or do you think they actually knew it, but they were thinking it's better not to take such a drastic position like that?
Well, it's do you focus on difference that makes a difference to the way you do your art, or do you focus on a kind of abstract similarity? So, for example, if you know a family that has 5 children, you could look at the first child and say, oh, that's the son of my friend. And then you could look at the second child and you could say, that's a version of the son of my friend. And each of the other children are versions of the son of my friend. Now, those children would prefer to be described as things on their own, right? Rather than as versions of the first child. Okay. J.S. Bach, according to his son Emmanuel, did not buy the inversion business. For him, every arrangement of tones was separate and required different treatment. So I'm not saying that DFAC is totally different than FACD. But, things like theories of inversions, Roman numerals, they miss a lot. Okay. And even Italian pedagogy can only get so much right. Let's take a Renaissance cadence. Or there's a 7/6 or 2/3 suspension. Okay, now if I harmonize it this way, the bass is going E, F, G, G. I have a tonic chord, a passing tone, and then 2 dominant chords. But if I slow the bass, now I have a subdominant chord and a dominant chord. But it's the same darn thing. Okay. And in fact, in Italian pedagogy, this is a simple cadence And this is a compound cadence. So you can see when you have multiple voices acting semi-independently in time, trying to pick a single
Abstraction.
nomenclature, to say what's really going on is not so simple. Hence schemas. These schemas have a range of variation. I mean, these are all, if you will, instantiations or realizations of a basic cadential schema. And it happens to be in the upper parts, which causes a lot of mayhem for Roman numerals or even thoroughways. They have to treat those as almost entirely different things.
Right.
Whereas when we hear them, they're not really different.